In a lot of ways, this is in like the same vein. Although this is, instead of being a mid-range deck, this is like a pure aggro deck. Um, I thought this build was going to end up a little bit different than it did, but I've really liked the Chromatic Stars with Fleshraker, and in the past we've played some combo decks with Fleshraker and Skittering Precursor, Glaring Fleshraker's weird cousin. 3/3 minutes, pretty good stats, honestly. And whenever you sack a non-token permanent, you make a spawn token. So the idea is that when you're playing 4 Precursor and 4 Fleshraker, all of a sudden Stars and Spheres just become really good because they cycle. They sometimes generate mana if you have 2 of these. They just become like really effective cantrips that are quite powerful. And so moving on from there, when you're playing a lot of really effective cantrips and a lot of cheap artifacts, all of a sudden Cori-Steel Cutter becomes really appealing, and you get to play some amount of Mox Opal. I'm playing 3 right now. We're not the best Mox Opal deck ever. Like, drawing multiple Opals is pretty bad a lot of the time. And you know what? I'll say this. I've played very little Eldrazi Linebreaker decks. I looked at the Mox field. I've played Eldrazi Linebreaker on stream 3 times before. If you look at the Mox field, I titled this deck. I think this is in the stream title too. This is Eldrazi aggro, but without a bunch of 7 drops in your aggro deck. You've maybe seen Eldrazi Linebreaker decks before, and there are some cool curves where you try to go like turn 1. It that heralds the end, the 2/2 that like lures your Eldrazi for 1, and you play a Linebreaker on turn 2, and then you play a Thought-Knot Seer on turn 3, and that's like 21 damage if your opponent does nothing. But it's like, when you play those decks, you're like, those decks basically always play Ugin's Labyrinth, and they play a bunch of 7 drops that are just really dead. And the draws are really clunky because they have like a really low curve and they run out of gas, and then they have this low curve and they just have a bunch of 7 drops. The curve is very, very weird. And so the idea is to just kind of nullify that, use Mox Opal as your secondary mana engine, pair it with the Cori-Steel Cutter value plan, and just try to go crazy with Fleshraker, Precursor, Linebreaker, Seer, K-Command. It's been pretty sick so far. It's been pretty sick. You also get Skateboard, which is, I think, a pretty big upgrade for a build like this. Kind of neglecting the Amulet Titans matchup in the sideboard, but we've got Charmaws for Tron, we got Pyroclasms for Boros, we got Vandalblast for Affinity, we got Soulless Jailer for Storm and Living In, we got some Urza Saga tutor targets. Also, this build compared to the mono black build gets to play 4 Urza Saga in the main deck because you just don't have red 1-drops, and you also have more spheres and stars, so your mana fixing is actually really, really good. There's actually maybe some consideration for not playing the Vista package because you maybe want like every single land to tap for colorless because your red fixing is so easy because of the spheres and the stars. That being said, Vista being a fetch land does trigger Precursor, and then also getting a waste against Blood Moon effects is going to be really good for this deck. So I think it is probably better to keep them in, but that's I think an interesting angle. I might not to be playing DRC. I'm kind of happy not to play DRC or Ragavan because they're red 1-drops and they do make the mana like a good bit worse. Okay, so I'm going to keep this on the play. I'm pretty sure that I want to go Urza Saga Chromatic Sphere into Cori-Steel Cutter Mishra's Bauble, so I can then go Thought-Knot Seer on turn 3 after getting a Mox Opal. Do you think Blood Moon Urza Saga is worth exploring for Infinity Constructs, or is that too slow? Well, when the rules change happened, we were like pretty interested in exploring it, and the reality is like making a construct on your turn it's not a very efficient way to spend your turn unless you're playing Affinity. Okay, green send for 1. Unless you're playing Affinity, making a construct is just not that good. All right, we are going to be able to crack the Bauble because if we leave the sphere in play, the Cori-Steel Cutter will give us Metalcraft. I guess I'm going to crack on upkeep. It's a Yawgmoth? Deviant Art Yawgmoth. Yeah, so sometimes like Affinity will play some Blood Moons or Harbingers in the sideboard, and I think it's a good sideboard card for them. It sometimes is like a good plan against Wrath Disguise, also just cut them off double white. And yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. Looks like we're probably going to get pretty dang rewarded for playing the Saga turn 1 so we can try to Thought-Knot Seer the Yawgmoth. They do Rumble. They do hit a second copy of Yawgmoth, and then they can put a Cauldron in their hand and graveyard the Yawgmoth. So scratch that. Scratch that. we can take the Cauldron, but then they can cast the Yogg. All right, so let me get. Still getting the Mox Opal. I think we're just gonna cast the Seer this turn. Next turn we're gonna sack the Sphere and then upload a mana, sack the Sphere, go off. Oh, they have Ouroboros in their hand. That card, dang, this draw is really good. Really tied together with this Badger, but we just don't have removal for it. I think I have to take the Cauldron. Not loving our position though. Someone recently 5-0 with Grixis Prowess. I didn't even know Cremate was a card. Remember Cremate from RTR Innistrad Standard? Playing Cremate over Cling to Dust is like a little bit ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. It's sick. It doesn't make any sense. Nethergoyf is interesting. So Nethergoyf over Swift Spear. I think it makes some sense. Yeah, I don't know. I would play Surgical or Cling to Dust over Cremate. I think that they want to be able to exile Flage and then draw a card. My opponent leads on a Rumble. Interesting. Good morning. I appreciate you calling out the DVR versions. Not a fan of the style. Yes, I'm doing my part. Doing my part. It's a hard fight to fight, but I am your strongest warrior. These are my least favorite promos in Magic history. Although I'm also not a fan of the Avatar like PNG ones that they just like it went to MS Paint and like copy pasted screens from the show. I thought that was very lazy. Less lazy than this. You know, as someone who like makes stuff for a living and has like other creative projects, you know, one thing that's interesting about doing that for a living versus working a normal job is a lot of times you spend a lot of effort on something and it's like negative. It's like actively detrimental to your progress. Like you'll build a bad deck or you'll make a wrong decision in your game, which will like lead you down like a long path of errors. Oh, they found another Cauldron. Or like you'll write something wrong and it'll set you back a long time. I thought they were official sketches. Yeah, I mean they are official sketches. They're in the style of deviant art. All right, so my opponent's gaining infinite life here. Let's go ahead and pack it in. That's through a Thought-Knot Seer, infinite life on turn 3. Gonna bring in the Pithing Needle. What if I play like a Vandalblast? I kind of like one Vandalblast. They're like so in on Cauldron. Jailer stops all the Undying loops. It stops Green Sun Zenith, right? Oh, no, it doesn't. Calling DeviantArt feels majorly disrespectful. It is. I am being disrespectful. I don't like them. Do I want... I don't love Lantern against them. It's like kind of okay. I really don't like having to sack Lantern to exile from the yard. Probably do want some Pyroclasms. Alright, so you have to make 5 cuts. Let's leave this in. Maybe -2 spheres. -2 precursor. Okay, but you're being respectful for the art that was not made for Magic. I don't like it. I'm an art critic. I'm criticizing the arts. Art is meant to be criticized. People, you know, it is what it is. It's not personal. I didn't like the art that they made. I don't like it on the Magic cards. I think it looks bad. You know, it is what it is. I think I really want all the breakers. Like the trample's just so big. Although the Fleshrakers are kind of awkward with the Pyroclasm sideboard play. I mean, the card's just the best card in the deck, though. Maybe we're just gonna go down to 2 Pyroclasms. All right, let's hope that they Green Sun for a Dryad Arbor and I can command it. What's getting unbanned on Monday? So, I mean, Wizards has done nothing in the modern format for over a year. I'd love for them to do something. I think there's I think most people feel like modern feels a little stale. I think that there's a lot of angst and desire for some movement. I'm maybe just very biased because I am who I am. But this is definitely my opinion. Is that Modern is it's fine. It's been fine for a while. Things are a little stale. Things could be a lot better than they are. And there's like 9 moves I think that could be good moves in the format, and I'd love to see something happen. Hopefully we draw a land. I respect artists. I don't like this particular style. Yeah, I love artists. It's not personal too. You know, it's like this is as someone who makes something for a living. When people are mean about my decks, or they don't like them. That's totally fine. That's even like what you put them out there for. You know, is like to be open to dialogue and criticism. You know, just saying you don't like a piece of art is not. You're allowed to say that, and I think you should be encouraged to say that too. Okay, so we will be able to K command the land, but it does come back. So I mean, this is just if we draw nothing. Unfortunately, we stacked our spheres. Awkward draws here. Do you think Amulet of Vigor deserves a ban? I do. I think it's like really out of bounds of what a 1-mana artifact should be able to do. I think it does too much for too little. I think it's now that I've played some more with Cloud Post, I do think Cloud Post is better than Amulet, but I think that behind Cloud Post, it's the most efficient mana generating card in Modern's history, and I think it's the fact that like, you know, 2 copies just like leads to so many turn 2 kills is pretty problematic when sideboard cards cost 3 mana. I also think Amulet Titan survives a Amulet ban. You can green sun for Wandering Minstrel, you can play Splunking, you still can turn 3 combo kill, you're still a very resilient deck, you're still a very fast deck. You get to move away from Urza Saga, so you're more resilient to disenchants. Alright, Pyroclasm kills nothing here. Orboard is looking pretty good. Let's go and pack it in. Some mana stumbling there. Maybe could have mulligan. Okay, gonna keep this. No, let's mulligan on the draw. It's a little slow. Right, this hand has 3 looks at land number 2. It's a little bit weird. Yeah, like I think Amulet is still pretty playable with an Amulet ban. You just have a lot of redundancy to the combo. You play 1 Spelunking, or you play one of the you play 1 Wandering Minstrel, you play 4 Spelunkings, you have 9 Amulet effects still in your deck, really, really freely. And then you're more resilient to disenchants. If I had to pick 3 cards from me, yeah, I would. So I would also love some unbans. I would love a Deathrite Shaman unban. Deathrite Shaman unban is the only one I think would be great. I think Punishing Fire, Birthing Pod are like free. I think those 2 cards. Oh, sorry, Umezo's Jitsi, Birthing Pod are free. Punishing Fire is like kind of interesting, but probably wouldn't do much. Reban Amtraptor is finally a base take in the chat. So for the store matchup, I've got Soulless Jailers. I think these are the best sideboard cards we can play because don't want to be playing Damping Spheres with the Temples and the Cori-Steel Cutters. Draw another copy of Cori-Steel Cutter. Let's go ahead and make a red. Another K command. I guess we're just going to go ahead and play a Fleshraker, maybe try to chain some stuff together next turn. Assuming we can survive. They did level up the artist talent, though. I feel like Deathrite would make blue-black decks crazy, make them crazy. So one thing is, like, I think Dimir Flash probably would not play Deathrite Shaman. Dimir Flash, for at least some amount of the recent months, has been better than Dimir Frog. I think it is still better than Dimir Frog, although it's kind of going to be like a metagame question. I actually don't even know. I don't even think it would be that good in Dimir Frog. I think it would be. I think Deathrite Shaman is just going to be like the 6th strongest 1-drop in Modern if it's unbanned. All right, so yeah, Needle plus Lantern pretty good against Rao. Going to bring in the Jailers as well. Going to leave in the Skateboard. Let's go down to Star and the Precursors. Try that. Yeah, BNR's on Monday. Yeah. I kind of appreciate Wrath the Skies. Need sweepers that hit more than creatures with power level, but I stand Orzhov. I think Wrath is way too efficient. I think Wrath is... I know it's like... I know it's like a weird thing to really hone in on. This hand can turn to Jailer, by the way, because we can go play second star double Opal Jailer. It's like Wrath like really restricts design space. The fact that it hits everything so cheaply, it's like I feel like it's just like honestly like a lazy design where it's like we're gonna it's very similar to consigned to memory in a lot of ways, where it's like we're gonna print really unbalanced colorless cards and we're gonna print just a catch-all because we didn't really spend enough time playtesting these. And the fact that Wrath just hits everything, it's like I think it's just too efficient. I think it's really bad for the format. I think Wrath Disguise is worse for decks and aggro decks existing, and worse for format diversity than Fury ever was. I would much rather have, like, if I was gonna play a creature deck, like a little tiny creature deck in the format, or like, you know, I would much rather Fury be in the format than Wrath Disguise. It's just too efficient, I think. It's also like I think pretty problematic that Boros Energy plays Wrath Disguise. It's like that dynamic is really unfun. Which is the worst artifact land? Green? Green would be good at Hardened Scales at least. James Hardened Scales. Yeah, black's gotta be the worst. They have a Shattering Spree? Cool. Well, they hit my Mox Opal, which is at the very least I have a redundancy for. Cipher with the 27 months. Appreciate you. Welcome back. Fury says high toughness creatures, and Wrath Disguise says expensive creatures. The thing is, Wrath Disguise says, like, maybe your, like, 4 mana value creatures will be good, but it also just gets those too. Like, Wrath Disguise doesn't miss anything besides Scion of Draco. Like, Scion of Draco is the only card that... Scion of Draco is the only card that Wrath Disguise kind of misses. Like, with Galvanic Discharge and or Tune the Narrative, not that, you know, too often you play Tune, but, like, the Guide of Soul stuff, it just hits everything. So I found an Artist Talent. I think my plan is gonna... Let me see if... Okay, well, I'm gonna play that this turn. But I was thinking Construct plus Construct... Construct plus... Construct Skateboard was gonna be my line. Let me draw 1 card. Probably not 2 here. Okay, now we'll draw 2, because if we draw a land, we can go Fleshraker into Jailer. Okay, let's go. You agree with me, Midday? I see. That's okay. I mean, that's fine. I think we're fleshing out the combo. So they discard a Firebrain Scheme to play a Glimpse. They cannot play any of the cards off Glimpse, so this is just make 3 spawn tokens here. Is it Skateboard time, or do I want to get a Soul Guide Lantern? I think let's play it safe here. The Soul Guide Lantern is pretty important, I think, when they have Past in Flames in the yard. Maybe if they didn't already have a Past in Flames in the yard, we would do something else. But they also have a bit of chump blockers too. What's my T choice? I mean, this is just like T for like sore throats because I'm sick. Maybe it was mentioned, will Grief be bad for Modern? My opinion. Yeah, Grief being back would be really bad for Modern. Grief was like really bad gameplay. It was it's just one of these cards that's better to move on for. Every time we have these banlist conversations, and I think it's fine to have it right now because there's a BNR on Monday, right? But every time we have these banlist conversations, the thought, what if we unban some broken cards, gets brought up. But I think, in my opinion, I just have the philosophy of moving forward, trying to make gameplay and format diversity a priority. Not trying to, like, in my opinion, the goal is to not have as many cards legal as possible. The goal is to have the best format as possible. Grief also, like, Grief in Living In and Grief in Gorios is like, Grief in the new version of Gorios especially is like really inherently scary. But again, my goal is always to make the format as good and Like, as good as possible, not to make as many cards legal as possible, which does seem to be some people's goals. I think Great Grief is a gameplay issue more than a power level issue, but both are a problem. I don't know. Like, Grief in like Sultai Living End currently would be bananas. Grief in Espergorios would be like, I think it would like immediately be like it would immediately be top 8ing most events if Grief were legal. Grief in Necro would be like a really big deal, like it was when it was legal. Yeah, pretty sure I'm not sacking the Lantern to try to do anything else, of course. I generally subscribe to more cards equals good, but I would defer to the man who plays the format for a living. I mean, I don't think you don't need to do that. This is the thing about Magic. It's so nice, and of course, none of it's personal. It's all cards. But you're allowed to have a different opinion. So they do have a wear tear, and they have an active artist talent, and they chose not to discard any cards. Now they are 3, which means that a Ral is not going to be a super reliable way for them to win the game. And we have a Lantern in play for Past in Flames. And they only have 3 cards in their hand. All right, so now they're gonna Wish with 3 mana floating. Brother's Hood in does not kill my Thought-Knot Seer. What do you think they're getting here? Empty the Warrens? All right, fair enough. All right, going to game 3. On the draw for game 3. I'm requesting someone sub me on Soul Guide Lantern for someone that loves Relic of Progenitus. It's really nice to be able to cut like this game could be a good selling point where it exiled the Past in Flames without needing to sacrifice. And so you threaten to pop later. Sometimes this is relevant against Flage too, but less relevant because clearing up the graveyard is really good against Flage. Sometimes this is really relevant against Gorios. Like you play it, you exile their Atraxa, then you pop it later. But maybe you could just play Relic. It would be pretty similar, honestly. Okay, so we're on the draw for game 3 against Eldrazi. Oh, sorry, against Storm with Eldrazi. This hand is very optimistic. I think leading on the Urza Saga to get a Lantern or a Needle is interesting. I'm gonna YOLO this one. Is there anything you want to see on ban? I think Deathrat Shaman would be an awesome unban. I think you could also look at I think Deathrat Shaman would be awesome. Birthing Pod Jite would be free. They would not be playable. And I think Punishing Fire and Ponder are 2 cards you could look at. And I believe I have no other cards on my like unbanned wish list. All right, so I guess we have to leave up K Command for this Past in Flames. Have I tried Flow Days? Dude, I've done everything. I just have really bad seasonal allergies, and this is just one of the worst places in the country to have seasonal allergies. And I've done Flonase. I've got the behind the counter Claritin pumping through my veins right now. I've got the Breathe Right Strip. I got 2 humidifiers. I've done the Neti Pot. I've done the saline spray. I'm not doing the hardcore nasal spray right now because I've used too much of it. But I'm in there. I don't open X-Links, Mike, but yeah, I also don't. I think it's hard to look at the data, anyways. Okay, so I think we're gonna scry draw because we can just get a Lantern off the Saga. If we can just say he's over the counter Sudafed. Yeah, I have like what I think is behind the counter Sudafed, but right now. All right, so we're gonna float a mana. But it's been okay. I'm getting better. It just is like usually really bad for like 3 or 4 days, and then sometimes it comes back and sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so maybe so I can go Glaring Fleshraker, 1 mana floating, Mox Opal, 2 spawns in play, Soulless Jailer. Okay, so Fleshraker 1 mana floating plus the spawn. Use those 2 mana for a Soulless Jailer. I have 1 mana from the token, and then I play Mox Opal, and I have 3 mana left over, right? So it seems like I'm 1 short of playing my whole hand, right? 1, 1, yeah. So can I guess playing Soulless Jailer into Thought-Knot Seer is what we want to do. Since I want to be able to take like a Vandalblast. The problem with this is if they have Wear Tear for the Jailer. But we saw Vandalblast last game and Wear Tear. I was counting the spawn already in play. I don't think I articulated that, but I did count it. So we have a Lantern already in play. I have a Jailer. I'm gonna take the Ruby. Let me know if that's what you're taking here. Another Jailer, huh? I don't know how much it matters what you take there. You know, I think I love that you said this, because you know, in my years playing this game, I've definitely thought those exact words to myself many times. I don't know how much that matters what I take here, and the amount of times you make a decision thinking that and you lose the game because of it is like shockingly high. You know, I think it's kind of what separates the Reed Dukes from the rest of the world. Is like Reed Duke just takes all the time he needs on every decision, no matter how far ahead he is. I think unban Mystic. Okay, Mystic Sanctuary unban is ridiculous. I think Uro is also kind of a ridiculous unban. It's not the most ridiculous ever, but I don't know. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's just like this is a crazy amount. I do think Bridge is kind of fine. I do think Bridge is kind of fine. Like Uro is like, I think Uro would be the best card draw spell in the format if it were legal. And Uro is also like really unfun. So like I don't know why we're doing it. Like maybe I guess you know K Command would probably be better than Uro, but K Command also probably shouldn't be legal. And there's also some interesting dynamics with like shifting Woodland into counterspell matchups. But another thing to consider this is Flage is bad in some matchups, right? I might K Command on a Johnny token here. Oh, my opponent says they're on Storm. Okay, well, GLHF. Uro is bad in some, or Flage is bad in some matchups. Flage is bad against Titan. Flage is bad against Storm. Flage is bad against Eldrazi. Uro is bad in no matchups because it's card draw and ramp. Is another like huge dynamic with the card. All right, let's not play the Opal because we might draw another Fleshraker. So like that dynamic is always like kind of like the default. Like Uro is better than Flage. Uro is good in every matchup. Flage is bad in like 20% of matchups. Uro is good on every single board. Uro is good on every single board. There's never a board where you don't need life gain, ramp, card draw. Flage, Flage is actually something you can 1-for-1. You know, your opponent plays Flage, it goes to the graveyard, you play a Soul Guide Lantern, you draw a card. You play a graveyard, you can get card advantage against Flage if, you know, some amount of the time with like K Command, Graveyard Trespasser, Soul Guide Lantern. With Uro, if you graveyard hate Uro, a lot of times you're like down a card or at card parity and like behind on mana. And it's like, it's just like I don't even like I know that Flage is really good with Arena of Glory and Flage goes in some really good it's in a really good color combo right now, but I just don't exactly know where the that thought comes from. All right, so let's play the Mox Opal. I think I'm gonna go just max K Command here, digging for Thought-Knot Seer, or maybe just a Chromatic effect to play the Linebreaker. Uro doesn't affect the board though, unlike Flage. Well, okay. You're saying a 6/6 doesn't affect the board, or maybe I'm misunderstanding. I mean, Uro does ramp you. It gains life, which is really nice. If you're saying just when you play it turn 3, you can also it's way easier. You can go Uro, put a land into play, consign, and have a 6/6 Uro in play, and like every Uro deck, and if you unban it, is playing 4. Every Uro deck, if you unban it, is playing 4 copies of Consign to Memory. If you unban it, and you know, as long as you understand that. Do I play Cori-Steel Cutter first? I don't think so. I think we're not going to be winning this one probably. Wait, do we have? Hold on. This is more damage than I thought it was. So this is wait. This is exactly lethal. Oh no, it's not. It's one short. Damn it. Ah, so close. I don't think there's a better way to do this though. I'm saying unescaped Uro. You keep talking about the small chance. The small chance to have a busted Uro start. The small chance to have a single copy of Consigned to Memory in your hand? What do you mean? The small chance to have just a copy of Consigned to Memory in your hand. And that's just for Uro to be like just in play. Uro is still like the normal Uro you know otherwise, right? So Ral is at least kind of offline. Fetch lands are kind of offline. But also like a non-escaped Uro, it does put a land into play. It does gain you life. That does affect the board. A little bit though, less than Flage. Although Flage doesn't impact the board if there's no creatures in play. What makes Flage good is being able to hit. I agree. A Flage arena is very strong, but I think the people who say Flage is better than Uro, like I have this dialogue tree. I would love to hear anybody else. If you just think arena Flage is that good, then that's fine. But yeah, people are already main decking Consign. I mean, any Uro deck is just going to main deck for Consign. You could have used Mox Opal mana to cast Linebreaker instead of one spell. No, I didn't have Metalcraft though. There wasn't a point where I had Metalcraft, was there? Yeah, I agree. I think it's recency bias. Why does the stream always devolve into the streamer debates ban list chat? Because there's a ban announcement on Monday, and this is the problem with ban announcements, at least for my life, is that when there's one on Monday, it's what people are really interested in talking about, and I become interested in talking about it too because it's relevant. Something might happen, right? People have opinions, and this is part of the reason why I usually advocate for. Also, my opponent's comboing off, like when there's not much to talk about, but it's also part of the reason why I advocate for just as needed, like no announcement bans. I agree. There's probably going to be no changes because there's been no changes for a year, but I think there's could be a lot of good changes. Uro doesn't see much legacy play. It does. It's like a one-off. I'll say that when we have this conversation about Uro, I raise all these points about like Consigned to Memory and Malevolent Rumble, and then most people's arguments are like, it's just a lot of, well, it doesn't see a lot of play in Legacy, which I don't think is a very good argument, and it doesn't really interact with what I'm saying, so it's hard for me to interact with too. You know what I mean? It's like, well, it's hard to say that how relevant that is. I like how right after we talked about Cade better than Luca. Well, I said that Luca is better than Cade, but I thought it was kind of an interesting comparison. And then Cade got a collapsed lung, and then Luca's on like an insane hot streak. I think it's very not funny. I hope Cade has good recovery, but interesting timing. I think I might be wrong, but I think Flage is better than Uro. Yeah, so like a lot of people say this. They think Flage is better than Uro, and then I go on this long diatribe about Consign and how Uro is good in every matchup, Flage is bad in matchups, and Rumble. And then nobody, and like, I don't see a lot of like counterpoints to Flage. I died to Flage a lot more than I ever did to Uro. I think I've died to Uro more than I've died to Flage, although that might not be true anymore. I died to Uro so much back in the day. But also, like the One Ring doesn't kill you that often. It's the cards you draw from the One Ring. Is Uro that good against Titan and Prowess? Uro decks would be good against Titan because they'd be full of counter magic. Uro would be good against Prowess, I think. Not as good as Flage would be. But like Flage is like really bad against Titan. Flage is really bad against Storm. Flage is really bad against Eldrazi. Flage is really bad against Belcher. Uro is like solid in all of these matchups because it's rampant card draw. And I feel like I bring that point up, and I don't know how often like people engage with that point, but I feel like that's like in a large way the biggest thing. Like Uro is like Kozilek's command. It is good in every matchup, and it's good on almost every turn. Kozilek's command is more relevant faster, and it's more like I think that dynamic with Kozilek's command is more pronounced. But it's kind of similar where there's just not a bad matchup for it, and it's kind of good against everything. All right, run back the same sideboard play. We did win both sideboard matches last time against Storm here. I think you're underselling Flage. Flage is very, very good. He's never that bad. Flage is okay. That's wrong. Flage is bad. Flage is like embarrassingly bad against Titan. Flage is like embarrassingly bad against Storm. I think I guess I just really disagree with I'm underselling Flage. It's not that bad. Flage is really bad in a lot of matchups. It's like it is like you're playing Riftbolt sometimes. Yeah, when Flage doesn't kill anything either, it just isn't good. Okay, maybe I should say this. Yeah, obviously there are times Flage is better than Uro, just like there's times almost every card is better than other Magic cards. And like Flage is better if you want to be killing creatures. Flage is better if your opponent's at 3 life. I guess I cut my precursor, so there's not really like much to look for off the Mishra's Bauble. And I know I'm going to play another Sphere, so now I'm going to look at my top card. If it's something I want to play, then I'll crack it, and if it's not, I'll wait on the crack, so I don't have to sack a spawn. Arena plus Flage when you like Surveillance Free is still good. Yeah, I mean, Flage is a very good modern card. Maybe should also be banned. I just think Uro is better than Flage. My point is Uro should not be unbanned. That's the conclusion I'm drawing from this conversation. Escape Titans are bad design space. Like a lot of Modern Horizons 3, they decided to go like revisit bad design space, in my opinion. Like I don't think that there was much reason to revisit Energy, Eldrazi, and Escape Titans. I think all of this was a little bit ridiculous. That's the conclusion that I tend to draw from this dialogue tree. I guess I probably should sack this. Wait, I did draw Seer. All right, so we'll go Seer Jailer here. They have a prismatic ending in exile. Right, I forgot about the ending. I should have gone Steel Cutter, Thought-Knot Seer. I'm gonna take the Impulse because that's the one they're most likely to be able to win the game with this turn. What are safe bans? Just Jitte. I think Jitte and Birthing Pod are the free do nothing on bans, and then I think that Deathray Shaman would be a great unban. I think that it's like when you look at like the 1-drops that are really strong in the format, it's Ragavan, Dragon Range's Channeler, Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Tamio. None of the really strong 1-mana creatures are black or green, and I actually think all 5 of these are stronger than Deathrite Shaman. Black does have some good 1-drops, Moon Shadow, Nethergoyf, but they're not like these are cards we play a lot of, I guess, but they really aren't like format defining cards in the way that these other ones are, and maybe they're a little underexplored, but I don't think that they're the same power level. I don't really think they're the same power level, and I think like giving those other colors access to a good 1-drop that is even like less strong than the other ones, I think it would be a positive thing. Okay, we also can make a construct this turn. Toga. Oh yeah. So yeah, Boros would not splash for Deathray Shaman. I think it's wild to think it would. I have been seeing this a lot, that Boros energy would splash for Deathray Shaman. I think it makes no sense. Like they currently play 3 1-drops that are better than Deathray Shaman plus 1 mana removal. Y'all keeping this? We're keeping this. Okay, the Lantern's really nice. Needle plus Lantern's like really ideal. I just need to play a 1-drop this turn. Kind of feeling the lack of a wastes. I'm gonna go Needle. It's not okay. It's not. It's Rao Leyline Prodigy or Rao Monsoon Mage. I literally can never remember. It's because like every time I cast Pithing Needle, I look it up and then I don't remember. I think it's Leyline Prodigy. Would Burn play Deathwitch Shaman? Like definitely not. Not that Burn would necessarily be exist at all. It is Leyline. Okay, now we can crack the bauble. Is Dig Through Time too good? I think Dig Through Time would probably be the best card draw spell in Modern. I'll say I've been playing a lot of Treasure Cruise. I've been playing a lot of Treasure Cruise and no banless Modern, and Treasure Cruise feels nuts. And I remember back in the day, like Cruise was definitely better than Dig Through Time, but it wasn't that far behind. And they do have a prismatic ending. So I'm like Uro. I'm generally not in favor of unbanning any card with the expectation that it would like immediately be the best card advantage spell in the format. Thanks again, Mox Opal so tough here. Why would Mystic be an issue? For the same reason Mystic Sanctuary was an issue when it first was banned, was that what does Mystic Sanctuary being legal do for Modern? It means that blue decks never have a bad top deck in the late game, which is game breaking for Magic. I guess we do get to play a Linebreaker this turn now. Cruise is better in tempo and control is better and Dig was better in combo decks. I think that that's true. Or maybe this is like Pioneer bias with oh sorry, I didn't make a colorless mana. Oh my gosh, I didn't float colorless mana. Oh my, horrible. Sorry, chat. And then I didn't float Opal. Okay, all my opinions are invalidated because I'm fumbling here. Energy has never been a bad top deck. Low control needs help. Something else being broken and needing addressing has never been a good argument for unban my pet card. This is always like just Spike. I'm agenda posting. There's something else broken. Give me back my broken card I used to have. It's just never. It's just all. This is just always blatant agenda posting. It's hard to interact with. So there's the Rao. And I'll tell you what, if you didn't think Mystic Sanctuary was like really good and broken, you wouldn't be asking me to unban it right now either. I see you. I know what you are. You find a Brotherhood End and a Manamorphose. I feel like Wizards employees talk about less about bans than we do. That's definitely true. Yeah, I know they're kind of draining. Listen, there's a BNR on Monday. It is what it is. This is what happens with the scheduled BNRs. Also, it's what happens when we play against Storm 2 rounds in a row. It's like we just have to talk about bans. Magical 66. Yeah, I see a lot of rest in peace Chuck Norris in the chat. I don't know. I don't. I'm not gonna make any jokes about on a man's death. I don't. I remember fondly the Chuck Norris memes in middle school. He was probably like 80, right? Okay, so we're gonna replay some more of this between rounds. No colorless man. I think we got a mulligan. Okay, that's a nice hand. So put it back, probably Mountain Steel Cutter. That game 2 was crazy. The fact that their last two cards are Solitude White card. So they're playing Wooded Foothills. I don't know if that means they're playing. Yeah, I think Wooded Foothills means Hollow One. I like to try this deck. I built a little bit more than the black version. Higher removal count, cut precursor for heat maybe. Yeah, if you cut the precursors, you need to cut the spheres, or like not play any many stars and spheres probably. But yeah, you could play some main deck removal. So they're getting in for 7 in the air on turn 2. Moonshadow, very good card. There's a Linebreaker. I think I can go Fleshraker into Linebreaker. I think I have lethal. This is cool. I'm not sure that it's lethal. I think it is though. Yeah, it's just got to be. Well, third Fleshraker, but Linebreaker lethal. It's like super lethal. This was a mold 5. Opponent's feeling pretty good with their turn 2 flying 7/7 menace. you're at -9. My opponent did give me some help. Shout out to Street Wraith for the assist, I guess. I guess I didn't actually need the assist. All right. I could play a Lantern. Lantern's not that good against the current Hollow One builds, though. Let's just race them. Pretty cool. Yeah, this list is pretty interesting, I think. It's an interesting draft. Too bad they're for sure banning K-Command on Monday. Sponsored by Kalshi. A little bit of a more suspicious draw here. I don't think Obligator is very playable, but you could try Obligator. Ooh, that's a good draw. Stay with me if they burning Inquiry. I didn't sing well enough. As usual. Right, I think I'm going to save the sphere, and I'm going to go Precursor into second Precursor, crack Vista, make 2 spawns, crack Star, Sphere, make 2 spawns, play Seer, which maybe is going to be too slow. Yeah, if they unban Death Threat Shaman, that would be sick. I mean, I would just love for some movement. Some movement, you know. Who's going to start Kalshi for Magic? Not me. I'm no Giannis Antetokounmpo. Alright, I know we got surprise lethal last game. We're just gonna game 3 here. You know, I was thinking about taking poetry lessons at my local community college so that I can entertain you guys while my opponents combo. Modern Horizons 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I thought this would be easier. Oh, Luris, how I wish it was just you and me. Yeah, BNR on Monday. Okay, turn 1 Goif. I'm gonna play a Saga here. Leave my K commands alone. I don't want to buy another deck. $4,000 to my PayPal. You have 24 hours. And I'll leave K command alone. They have a Phoenix too. That's pretty good. If I sent you 4K, you'd buy another deck. Well, they didn't say they didn't want to not lose $4,000. They said they didn't want to buy another deck. I'm not a mind reader. How would you feel about a format that's modern but without the modern only sets? I don't know, brother. Listen. I'm not a format creator. I'm a format grinder. I like to build. I like to break. I don't like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, you know. When I've watched Doomwake host these events, unfortunately these events tend to be like really full of like everybody just playing their pet decks and the decks don't look very well built. So am I going to go to 4 or am I going to go to 8 here? Or sorry, 3 or 8. They do play Lightning Bolt in the deck. They do play Lightning Bolt. I think I just need this Precursor in play, though, really badly. They had Bolt, they would have bolted already. Ooh. Flying. So now I need... K command. Alright, maybe should have blocked, although. Got to make a lot of mana this turn. Yeah, I didn't board in the Lantern. Maybe it is just better against them than I thought it was, too. I try to get another match in. Let's keep. Are there any other good zeros you could play here? I mean, really just Bauble and Opal. They aren't really other good zeros now. You know, I did find out recently, or remember recently, that Pinnacle Emissary tokens are colorless. I wonder if maybe you could play Pinnacle Emissary plus Linebreaker in this kind of shell. I'll make a note. Possible with the star build, yeah, I agree. I don't know exactly how it gets in there. I guess we would move away from like Seer, maybe. Is that a good draw? So seems better. Wait, hold on. I guess 3. I guess I do need to get Opal because I can't Precursor after Fleshraker and sack a new star. So get an Opal. This doesn't cost any colorless. Oh, sorry. I thought I had the ability to do one more mana. I guess we're just gonna go now. Precursor into Fleshraker. Linebreaker's interesting. I want to save that though. Make a Cori-Steel Cutter token and just pass probably. Has Steel Cutter been filling in this deck? Seems almost like our slowest card. Slowest is not. That's not the right. That's not the right thing to attribute to this card. But yeah, I mean, I think we got a lot of cantrips and a lot of artifacts and non-creature spells. And yeah, I think Steel Cutter is good. I woke up and saw a notification. Why are you getting your hopes up for BNR? I mean, I'm just clickbaiting you, but I'm a little bit like just also just expressing my general annoyance that it's been over a year since no movement, and I think a lot of people would just love some movement in Modern. It's been like kind of stale for a while. And also like the notifications, it's a little bit like it's the Monday before a BNR. Everyone's gonna be talking about it, and I kind of want to talk about it too. Let's see, there are 4 matches still in progress over here. Emissary and Raker do love the same cards. Yeah, I think that is interesting. I don't think the format is that stale. It's not that stale. Like Modern is fine. It could be better. It has been like a very long time without movement compared to I mean it's been over a year since the ban, and for me personally, I think things just could be way better if there was movement, but no, not everybody agrees. Let's see. So I guess I'm just gonna scry draw and exile the Ajani, maybe find or dig for an artifact off the scry draw to trigger the Steel Cutter. Can cast it because of the Fleshraker token. It just feels like the format could be better than it is. Okay, we don't find one. And I usually say it's just kind of a philosophy thing. Attacking is interesting. We probably shouldn't. They do have another Ajani. They probably just drew that. I feel like they should have played it last turn. Let's go ahead and block. I think the Linebreaker. I guess maybe it doesn't even let me get through if they plus the Ajani. Probably does. Well, this is obviously helpful. We do have Pyroclasm on the side. Hard to say no to another Fleshraker. Don't know that we can cast it first here, though. Probably looks like we can cast it first. So if we cast it first, then we go Fleshraker, make a spawn, Linebreaker, 2 more spawns. And so Fleshraker, make a spawn, Linebreaker. So it'll be Steel Cutter and this coming in, and we're gonna have 5 colorless creatures. So this will be 8 power trample. So this gets absorbed, 6 toughness, 2. So the Ajani goes to 1 if they block everything. Should be okay. Could attack with this Fleshraker. I guess they're at 5. Hold on. I think if I attack them, they're dead. So this is 8 power trample. This is 2 power trample. So it doesn't really matter how they block. It's all kind of the same. So they can absorb 6 power, and I have 12. So even if I'm off by 1, they die. Oh, I forgot about the lifelink. Okay, I mean they go to 1, but they block but they lose their board. It's probably still the right attack. Oh, and then the first strike on the. Okay, sorry. This was worse. This was worse. Keep it the fried is definitely worse. Okay, then round 2 is about to start. Let's finish this game here. Yeah, that's a Linebreaker. You know, Ramunap Ruins is definitely the best desert. How do you manage to have 2 Fleshrakers in play every time? When I play these, they get killed instant every time. So I'm kind of discovering when you're playing these more fair decks like the mono black and the mono red, you just have like this big variety of threats, and it's not that the Fleshraker just lives every time. It's that you feel when the Fleshraker dies less. Maybe that's not even a. Oh right, the ultimate. I guess we choose 1, 2. It's just kind of okay if the Fleshraker dies compared to other builds. Equip Cutter to the Fleshraker would have been lethal. Yeah, maybe. It's definitely a tough turn. So they're cracking the fetch. So now any Star, Sphere, Bauble, Opal, or land is just lethal with the Ruins, unless they have a Flage. I think that attack was correct. I think it was just better to not attack with the second Fleshraker and just attack. My initial attack here was them, and then was better because I just leave them with the pride. I lose the Fleshraker, and they get to ultimate Ajani, just to like put them down a little bit of life. So they do have a Flage. I don't know how they even like considered anything else here. They're at 5. I like keeping spawn, sacking to prevent life gain. And winning from top deck, yeah, we definitely messed up this game here. We do win. We do win. Although round 2 of the challenge is about to start. Oh no, sorry, we don't win because I forgot about the cat token. Okay, maybe we would have won. Let me just concede this match so we can focus on the challenge. We are 1-0. We're on the draw against McWinsauce. I guess I can keep this. McWinsauce was just I can do no hand hider against Sauce. Sauce is an old friend.